Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you'll meet a man who has one of the most melodious voices I've ever heard, and he's using that voice to give veterans a voice. He's the host of the Veterans Impact Show. Next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, as you just heard, I did 25 years of TV news, and I would have killed for the voice of my next guest. Jim Blythe is in the studio. He's with the Veterans Impact Show. They call it the voice of God in TV news. Have you been told that?
No, I've never heard that. I've got allergies right now, so it's a little bit deeper than normal. But I did Armed Forces radio on the ship, but I did entertainment radio. And we had a lot of fun playing with that voice way back when.
I bet. Tell us about Armed Forces Radio. What was that like?
I was on board the USS Oriskany in 1967. I was in an A4 squadron. John McCain was one of my pilots. I found out that they had a station, the Armed Forces Radio, Jeff, and that they needed somebody from 8 in the morning to 11. I was open at that time. I was working nights. So I started doing it. I had a lot of fun. But the music we had, Jeff, was all symphony music or Sing Along with Mitch or, you know, Lawrence Welk. And I go, oh, man, we can't do this. So we pulled into the Philippines, and I got a requisition, and I went and bought every rock and roll album I could get my hands on.
Wow.
We pulled out of the Philippines a couple of days later, and I cranked it up. And Michael Spears, who you know,
yeah, I do know.
Michael had taught me. We started together when we were 16. And so I'm going, and all of a sudden this phone rings in the studio, and I pick it up and I go, yes, sir. He said, Sailor, this is Captain such and such. I about had a heart attack. It was the CO of the boat. And I'm like, yes, sir. He said, man, we love what you're doing. You sound just like Stateside Radio. You're taking us back. Keep it up. We love the music. Wow. I said, thank you, Skipper. And I hung up. About that time, the door blows open, and into the studio comes a Catholic chaplain. He's red-faced, and he's screaming at me, and he goes, Sailor, who told you you could play that devil music? I said, the captain, he's on the bridge. Give him a call.
And I know you have dozens of stories like that, but how many years did you serve?
I served 4 years. I made 3 combat tours of Vietnam, 2 with the A4 outfit that John McCain was in. Then I made 1 with a helicopter rescue unit back on the Oriskany. So I was over there 3 times in 4 years, and most of it during the worst of the North Vietnamese air war. It wasn't fun. Yes. I had 12 pilots killed in action in BA-163 and 5 POWs.
Oh my, oh my. I want to show a little trailer for his show. Let's go ahead and roll that now.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard. This is the Veterans Impact Show, where we showcase veterans doing great things in our community. Navy League, where we enjoy being part of that. Men and women who are teaching about family values and what can be done to help America. Men and women who are so involved as veterans in what they're doing. And Sea Cadets with Judge Abby Bounds and the many instructors who teach our kids, as well as the Sea Cadets kids and the young Marines, the young Air Force. They're all learning about the Navy, about the military, and also we're taking these kids on field trips where they can touch and see history. It is a great adventure, and to take these young men and women out into the field where they have military-type exercises is so much fun for them and so much fun for the great instructors that are there to teach them. men and women who have so much experience in the military, so much to give. Authors like Mark Liebman, who are great at showcasing history and his Vietnam experience as a SAR rescue pilot. Admiral Patrick Walsh, who heads up a school that prepares young men and women in one of our worst neighborhoods, and they all get a chance to graduate and go to college. General John Campbell, U.S. Air Force retired, who organizes our National Defense Briefing Series. Say a special thank you to DBTV Network and AUN for carrying us. This is the Veterans Impact Show, where our goal is to bring America back together, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And what I love about your show, Jim, is you can actually do a deep dive. You know, when I was in TV news, a long story was 2 minutes long.
Oh, yeah.
But that's not enough time to tell these wonderful hero stories.
The reason I started this in 2015 was because what I had gone through coming home from Vietnam and the alienation, the things that happened. And so I said, well, let's have a program that we can showcase veterans continuing the mission in the community and what are they doing to help our community. And that's how we got started in 2015. From there, it's just grown and grown and grown. And now it is a total vodcast or broadcast where we do it all. And it is a really great opportunity for me to talk about health, talk about help, talk about the VA, talk about what veterans are doing to help our nation. And most people don't realize the importance of veterans. We've been blown off, and Vietnam really hurt this nation in many ways. So that's what our deal was and is today, helping veterans and helping bring the community and bring this nation back together, where we can talk and work together, not be just opposed.
Absolutely. We're going to pull up his YouTube channel because it shows his body of work on this show, and you've been doing it since 2015, so you've probably lost track of the number of episodes at this point. How do you go about choosing your guests?
Many cases, there are people that are introduced to me through various functions, or I start calling. I worked with each of the directors of the North Texas VA, so during the Trump administration, the Secretary of the VA, they got him on, and I had Secretary Wilkie on 3 times.
Wow.
And then I worked with some of the undersecretaries to promote some of the programs of the VA. I did the same thing with the current administration, and we've been able to promote the PACT Act. We've been able to promote aid and attendance, various and sundry things to be able to help veterans connect. Because many veterans go, wow, the paperwork's so difficult. No, there are VA accredited reps around this nation that will help people. I had one family in Richmond, Virginia, who saw my program, and I was able to help that World War II family get aid and attendance pension of about $2,400 a month.
Wow.
Made all the difference in the world to them.
Well, I like it that you're broadcasting around the year, and with the mainstream media, they tend to just like have Veterans Day or Memorial Day as those times when they talk about veterans, and stuff is going on in veterans' lives that need attention now.
Absolutely, and one of the big things that we talk about is ending isolation, mentoring programs, suicide prevention, but mostly it's about getting the health care you need. Jeff, I'm a certified senior advisor, and I work with the elderly in their homes. And many times I've been sitting there with a guy, and I go, "You can't hear me. I'm screaming at you. What happened?" "Well, I was an artillery commander in Korea." "Okay, how about getting hearing aids?" "Oh no, VA is terrible. I can't." No. Got them, every one of them that I've had, I've gotten them into the VA through an accredited rep, and they've all gotten help that they wouldn't have gotten otherwise. So I think what a lot of people don't realize is, yes, there are programs that are VA needs to work on. Nothing is perfect. But for a veteran, going to the VA makes all the difference.
Sure.
And they don't know.
You mentioned helping seniors. You wrote an amazing book, Challenges of Change. Let's go ahead and put that on the screen. Tell us what the book's about.
Well, actually, the book, I'm a reverse mortgage professional that I got into this in 2004, 20 years ago. And I began to realize that I didn't know enough about taking care of veterans. So I became a certified senior advisor. This is all war stories. It is not a how-to book. It is a why-to book. And it's stories of people that were successful as well as stories of people that are not. And it's on Amazon. You can go to our Facebook. We'll send it to you. It's important because, you know, Jeff, one of the biggest problems we got in this nation for seniors, people retiring like me, they don't plan. They don't plan even as far ahead as Christmas in many cases, and they end up with a terrible mess on their hands. So this book is really a whole bunch of small stories in the format of a cautionary tale.
You have a big event coming up.
You bet. We have a symposium coming up September the 6th at the Hope Center in Dallas, and it's supported by Healing Thine Heart Ministries and myself and Symbiose, which is integrative health. We're having three great speakers. One, Dave Carey was one of my pilots from Vietnam, 5.5 years as a POW. Now, you talk about a great book. Right. He wrote a book, The Ways We Choose. How did they choose to survive and thrive? And a lot of people don't know the POWs of Vietnam have outperformed every other group of POWs in the nation's history.
Wow.
Also, we've got a great friend of mine, Bruce and Tony Hebel. He's written a tremendous book called Forgiving Forward. What's one of the biggest things that a lot of our veterans deal with? And that's PTSD, anger, some of these issues. And he's built a protocol, and I've seen it done in my home to friends of mine, of a transformation mentally, that all of a sudden, wow, this is a different person. And so these two men are coming to speak, and then Cedric White, who's my new co-host, closest friend I've never had till now. I got to tell you, he's a phenomenal marriage minister, and what he focuses on is veterans and military marriages. Jeff, can you imagine anything tougher than being married in the military?
Right. It's so much pressure.
Oh, man, you know, what they said is, hey, if you were going to have a wife, we'd have issued you one. What are you doing? So we're focusing on those things with help, with health, and with healing, that we're bringing these to veterans, and it's free. So it's going to be September the 6th at 10 o'clock at the Hope Center in Dallas. And so check with me. Go to our Facebook page. We've got flyers for you. We've got an Eventbrite. We'll get you there. Ain't going to cost you anything, and I'll give you a free lunch. That's a bad deal.
That's a great deal. Before we let you go, final thoughts. What would you like to leave the viewer with?
Right now, my opinion is greater than we've ever seen before. This nation is divided, and we've got to stop being divisive and start working together for solutions. And that is important. If you don't walk in the other man's shoes, you won't be able to talk to him. You won't be able to discuss things. We have got to start working together. And while I hear people saying that, I see their track record, and it's anything but that. So my takeaway is veterans can lead the way, helping to bring this nation back together. One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Wow. What a great way to leave this show. We're also going to leave you with his website, actually Facebook page. There it is on the screen, Veterans Impact Show on Facebook. The great Jim Blythe. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you for letting me be here. This is great. It's fun.
You bet.
And I remember you when you were an anchor.
Thank you. You were so good. I appreciate you so much, and that's it for now. We'll see you next time.